I think Sinuous is one of the maps that Big hasn't really had that much experience with, so I think that has to get banned.
Like, if you don't ban it, you can expect Alliance to pick it. They would love anything. Like, if you leave Sinuous or Frosty open, they're gonna take either one.
On the other hand, Alliance, you could say the same with Pool. Like, Alliance wants to ban Pool just because Big and Grenade, they have, just from earlier today, they're warm on the map, and they also own the world record on the map. So definitely also a scary map to be playing
Frosty
against.
Being taken
there
away.
Comes the ban, and Pool coming from... so exactly what we said.
Yeah, and are we going to have the Sinuous first pick, or are they going to leave it for a little bit later? They want Grip to start us off. And I think with the maps now remaining, Control is looking very lucrative here for Big Clan. They played well on it against Solary. They're warm on it. They're fresh on it.
There you go.
And they lock it in.
They did just win against Solary on Control to get into the grand finals, so it makes sense.
Now... I'm very curious here. Yeah, breaking. I was just about to say, with how they saw them play against Solary, that also is a good pick.
This is what we talked about.
Vortex,
now we can talk about either off-road or Vortex. They were warm on Vortex, and yeah, they just won on Vortex once again against
Solary. And we have an instant pick here. Off-road the 5th. Alliance wants it, and the last choice here from Big Clan.
It has to be Airwalk, right?
Yeah, they don't want Sinuous. I can't imagine.
They don't want... They might pick Speed. They did fine against G1 on Speed, but you gotta think that it's Airwalk. They're discussing it. They're discussing it. I mean, they are sitting next to each other.
So they will pick one of these three, and one will be randomly chosen. They picked Speed.
They picked Speed and got Airwalk as the random one. So that's...
They dodged
the
Sinuous.
Perfect. Yeah, the
they can't
perfect ending there.
Okay, that's quite an interesting set. I think we didn't really get too many surprises, except maybe Alliance not picking Sinuous, because it seemed almost like the most meta map there is out there, but he didn't go for it. So we're gonna have some previews of these maps, starting with Grip. You got the cinematic here. You can see a little bit of what the map's about. It starts with this quarter pipe, and then you also have every element represented, some plastic, some dirt, but the ending here is really all about balance, not going too fast.
Yeah, so the players are going to drive on cone-shaped structures where they're going to have to rely on precision speed and precision steering to get just enough speed to get through those cone shapes fast, but also not enough speed as to fly off the map.
Yeah, we also have Control here as the second map. This one we've seen earlier today, and it is a really beautiful map with a lot of obstacle elements. Those jumps into bobsleighs, see them once middle in the map and also twice in the ending. As we do have the players now, just 20 seconds on the in-game timer before the grand final kicks off. Last couple of nerves being shaken loose here. And we've seen how quickly, like sometimes in these games, the first round, a team can just ace. That would be getting 3 points and your opponent's 0. You have to be ready when this timer hits 0. You cannot afford to just take it easy in the first couple of rounds. Your opponents can run away with it.
And we'll be sure to shout out if it's an ace or if it's a map victory to get you guys acquainted and accustomed to the names here. But let's start off with track 1, round 1, Alliance versus Big. Here they just touch with those back wheels up on the ring checkpoint. And now they're going to drive over here, do a little bit of a ramp cut. So they're going to jump off the side of the ramp to get the back left wheel to touch as soon as possible. Then we have a half pipe up to the next section of the map. Very well done here by Grenade.
And now a very tricky line to hit. The players want to go up on the left in between these pillars to get a better setup for this turn. The racing trajectory that was revealed in week 1 by a lot of teams that they have worked on must have made a mistake in this round. So that means it's all on Grenade now. A scary 1 versus 2 situation. If he gets first place, he can get a draw. But if he gets past here, Alliance can accrue a lot of points. And we talked about that identity, the obstacle part coming up here. The players have to balance. If you go faster than 190, the car kind of starts to lift off. And you really have to balance your speed. Soul just made a mistake. Mutta is looking to increase his lead in first place here. And the final result will be a regular round victory for Alliance with a first and a third.
So a first and a third is a round victory, which means Alliance is going to get 2 points and Big is going to get 1 point. Not too bad for Big here in the start. It is Alliance's map pick, so we are expected to see them perform well. Usually you want to first pick a map that you feel comfortable winning, hopefully, because if your opponents win that first map pick, that is a lot of momentum in your opponent's favor.
And you have to think it from Big point of view as well. They banned this map in their previous series against Solary. So this is not a map that they love to play to begin with, and especially against Solary, which is one of the best teams at it. But against Alliance, when you have maps like Frosty, this is what they contend with. They say, okay, it's gonna maybe suck a little bit, but we'll try our best on Grip. So if they can get anything out of this, it's massive for them.
But here you see Soldier getting more speed than Grenade. He might be able to get up next to him. Mudda did not get that much speed, so he overtakes his teammate as well here with the wide line on the dirt banking. As we head into the latter section of the map, we have this engine off section where it's easy to slide out or touch a corner. If you do that, you're going to be out of the race as well. And once again, the identity. The more you see the players drive on two wheels, the more they're risking it. And you can see Soldier getting up on first place. He's trying to secure some points and play that defensive game. Yeah, Mudda is very close right now, but Massa gets that second place.
Very close race here. Everyone between just 0.2 of a second. And Alliance do get another victory. So 2-point lead now. And 4 of the points that they need to get to 10. The first 2 rounds. As we see the quarter pipe jump in the start here. You can't actually miss this if you go too low. Yeah. It's a game of limbo where you want to reduce airtime, but you got to make sure you cross the checkpoint line. Else you cannot complete your lap. So we have seen some mistakes like that. We see a too low jump there from Mudda, who clips the corner, having to respawn and putting Soldier in an extended 1 versus 2 here. This is going to last for the next 40 seconds until he reaches the finish. So he has his job cut out from here. Needs to battle the 2 players. You might be wondering why they go so high on this turn, the outside banking. That is so they can push with speed down through this entire part and across, as you said, the engine off. Where the more speed you start out with, the longer that's going to hold when you don't accelerate. So
yeah, you want to keep that momentum. And now going in here, once again, try to keep an eye out on that left wheel of the players. See, as you can see, Soldier is pressing it. Like, he is risking. He wants to get up next to Grenade, so his wheels left the ground, but it's not quite enough. Grenade playing an impressive defensive game and maintains that first place, and it's going to be a round victory for Big.
And I feel like the battleground has already been kind of defined after the first 3 rounds. We see the winning pace right around 101.6. All the players in this match have better personal best than that, and they have driven that in earlier weeks of competitive play. But it's very hard to push for more when you're just starting out in the grand final. But I think we'll start to see them slowly turn up the pressure, because you want to win the rounds. You know your opponent drives a 0.6, let me go for a 0.5. And they can very elegantly control their pace like this. Just, oh, let me risk a little bit more in this drift. Let me go a little bit higher in this turn. But right now, 2 small mistakes from Alliance in their lines means that Grenade and Massa, for Big, they have top 2 and a beautiful jump to follow.
What a low airtime jump there from Massa. Beautifully done here, and now they're going to be putting themselves in the top 2 positions as we only have a couple of turns left before the identity, and Big are looking to get their first ace in the grand finals. They only have 2 more turns here on the identity here on the cone structures. Massa almost flying out, and that's a little bit risky, but Soldier and Mudda right behind. Are they going to be able to overtake? Soldier makes a huge mistake, and that's going to be an ace for Berling International Gaming, jumping up to 7 points against Alliance.
Very nicely done there. It was getting close. It was getting dicey with Grenade slowing down a lot in the identity, but both Alliance players risked too much on the last corner, and Big Clan remains ahead, 7-5.
And if you guys are interested, that was a 0.6 driven, and it did look really clean. But the world record is a 101.2, so there is time to save. But it is these nerves that the players are driving with that is going to slow them down just a little bit. You want to make sure you save it in the ending. You don't want to fly off for no reason, so definitely difficult.
Also at this level, the 4/10 they're left with for the world record is not just like 1 turn they did badly. It is like 200th here, 300th there.
Absolutely.
And it's just stacks like this where every turn is slightly better than the world record, but they're already playing at like the 99+ percentile of how fast you can really drive this map. Grenade going very wide on the water turn there, almost hitting the corner, putting Soldier under a lot of pressure on the first cone. Massa just balancing like he's at a car show, but he hits the pillar by a little bit. Grenade now trying to get past Soldier himself, but they think they're gonna just take the draw here as it's a little too far. And at 101.54, best time in the match.
Big is in a dangerous position for Alliance right now. They only need a regular round victory to take themselves this first map win, which is Alliance's first map pick as well.
That shakes things up. You know, this is a map they banned against Solary. This is a map Alliance came into this game and thought, okay, this is the best map we could pick right now. And if Big can take it away from them, that, you know, puts a lot of question on the integrity of the rest of their pick and ban. So, Mudda and Soldier, they haven't gotten off to the start they wanted, but they still have time to clean up and recover Mudda again being left a bit behind, but Grenade hits the pillar and Musa jumps out. They're going to have a massive lead after this, about 1 second, if not more, to Musa and Grenade, half a second behind the two blue players right now. So an ace is possible if they can hold the nerves in the identity and not fly out in the water turn. We've seen that happen too. But I think the call is being made right now. Try to save. Grenade risks, and he does not get the reward. This is going to be Alliance most likely acing here.
Take a look at their speed here. They're going to be under 200, probably closer to 190 low to make sure that they save that turn. Do not fly off or make any mistakes. They just want to get into that finish line. They saw they were as far ahead. They did not need to risk, and now they put themselves in that favorable position, 9-8 for Alliance.
And it does go both ways in that middle part with the pillars. We saw Alliance having some troubles there. Now, Big Clan have their mistakes. Unfortunately, both of them in the same round, though. Oftentimes, if one player makes a mistake and the other can deny any points with a first place, it's way better than if both of them crash at the same time and you get aced. Alliance 1 point away, so Big Clan need a regular win here.
At least to put it into overtime. But Soldier looking to push that first place. I think Masa is going to get a little bit more speed also if he lands low. Yeah, Soldier getting pressured, but Masa hitting that outside left wall. And that's going to put a lot of pressure on his teammate. His teammate needs to get that first place now. Otherwise, it is going to be that first map win for Alliance. Masa, even more of a mistake. And the identity is all that puts Alliance away from the victory. Can they overtake Grenade? Mudda is fighting for it, pushing it. And now he's in the lead by 1 car length. Is he going to be able to get that final right-hander? And he is. And that's going to be Alliance getting the first map victory.
And we mentioned the pace. Look at that. Time from both Mudda and Grenade, 1:01:28 to lock out the game here. Alliance do push through on their first pick, but not as convincing as one might have thought. Big had a realistic chance to take that away.
That was definitely close. But yeah, Mudda driving less than 0.1 away from world record, so absolutely impressive showcase from Mudda, and also showing why it is that they first picked the grip, because they definitely have the pace. But now we're going to jump in to Control, which is Big's map pick.
And going into this map, like if you were in the Trackmania world right now, you could still smell, you know, the fresh burnt rubber from Big Clan winning here against Solary in heroic fashion. Big Clan, to get to the grand final, we're down 2 points to 9 against Solary. And they got 3 aces in a row to get to the grand final. So this is a map they just played about half an hour ago, and they're first picking in the grand final, knowing they're feeling confident to get it.
Absolutely. Now, if you're wondering why is it called Control, it is because in the air, you can actually control your car quite significantly in this game. And that's what we're going to see the players utilize multiple places in the map. You definitely need to have great car control, both on the ground, but also in the air.
Yeah, we're seeing some air brakes on this uphill coming up. You're going to see players air brake and then try to land in a way where the car tilts over the uphill. Soldier missing it and showing how much time you lose if you don't get it as good as what Big Clan just did. Musa and Grenade, great starts, crossing that checkpoint with a 0.5. Now they release a little bit to land early here, but again, you can see why Big Clan picked this. They have a massive lead out of the gate here, but catching up a little bit. Small ice wiggle there to get closer, but we're really going to see the air control coming through in the ending. 2 big jumps through a bobsleigh, landing in a cone-structured quarter pipe. Jnic.
Yeah. So let's take a look at this identity where the players, they're going to release in the middle of the air to get the lowest jump possible, then land, get a right-hander. They can get very different amounts of speeds depending on their landing right there. And then one more jump into the finish section. Mudda didn't quite make it, and that's going to be Big acing it out here on the first round.
They get an ace, and what a spectacular time for Musa. Starting today, the world record was a 1:10:20 by Pumba, and Musa's beaten it twice now. He's the only player in the world that has driven that pace. And Grenade drops a 0.3, so they set the bar. Like, they're telling Alliance instantly, this is what you're going into, and this is what you have to play against. Good luck keeping up with us.
Yeah, but Mudda definitely also, he has a low 120 or 1.2 as well, so, sorry, 10.2. 10.2, so Mudda is still there, but he did not get that. Again, we see twice in a row from the Alliance team not getting that transition perfectly, and that's going to cost him 0.2, 0.3 of a second.
Now listen to the release, small tap, of the acceleration there, just wanting to get as early onto the platform as possible. And again, Grenadier and Massa are dominantly far ahead on their map. This is what you expect from a first pick. This is what it looks like when you've just grinded a map more than the other team and you have such comfort with every single turn. You know all the intricacies to gain time. 3 turns ahead before the first identity jump. They both release, and Mudda gets a bit closer, but less exit speed through the checkpoint. Double ace is looking very likely here. Grenadier touching late, but able to steady out on the landing, and that's 2 aces in a row. 6-0.
6-0. What a dominant performance from Berlin International Gaming. Absolutely, as you said, what you want to see from a first pick. Alliance's first pick was not as dominant as this, but I mean, as you said, we just saw Big triple ace this against Solary. So they're comfortable, they're warm on this map, and I mean, you can really see it in their playstyle right now.
Yeah, and that's an interesting stat too. Like, their last 5 rounds of this is all aces now.
Yeah.
They're on an ace streak, and you can see if they can keep it going, but it really comes down to Alliance also missing this transition, where you just don't really have too much of a say in a round if one of your players is left in a 1v2 at this point. But now they're kind of equal.
Yeah, but it does seem like, right, this left-hander and the subsequent jump into the bobsleigh is something that Big does really well.
Yeah, you can only, you know, imagine how much practice they've had on that section alone. Mudda pushing through for first now, though, able to match Massa's pace finally, and Soldier is there. But I really like Grenadier's line through this. Oftentimes, he has a little bit less speed now than others, so he won't have too much of an influence in the round. Low jump from Soldier is going to bounce in a shaky way. Massa getting closer to second place, but Alliance could ace right back. Mudda still in the lead before the last jump, but Massa coming through with a low jump. Massa challenging, getting in between the 2 Alliance players and denying the ace. That position is very important for keeping the lead.
That is incredibly clutch coming in from Massa. You love to see it. And also, on top of that, it puts Big into that match point position, or track point position, sorry, where they can ace and then finish off the map quickly.
The 100th that Massa had as a lead there, 3rd place, keeps them at a 5-point lead rather than a 3-point lead. It is so influential, and as you said, the track point now on the board, an ace would do it, but unfortunately the ace streak is gone.
Yeah, unfortunate, but I mean, you can't really ask for much more than 5 aces in a row. I think they're quite happy with that anyway, so, well, we're gonna have to see. And they also are doing well right now. I mean, Soldier is a little bit in the back. He goes for a tighter line, actually seems to execute it quite well, jumps up to 3rd place. Grenadier is now in P4, but he might be able to get back up into this right-hander. Gets it very clean, but not enough to gain on either of the Alliance players.
Such elegant line here. He's likely to gain time on Soldier in the uphill, who gets a small drift there. Kara about to jump off, and Massa able to challenge Mudda for that 1st place. They're getting very close to the necessary points to close out this map, but Mudda has something to say about that 1st place. The last jump's going to decide it. Massa going very low, and that is going to be a drop. What a save.
A little bit of a...
quick thinking there. You know what? Turning around is... too overrated. Goes backwards.
Gotta get the style points, you know?
Speaks to the confidence, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, they still get the draw. They still get 1 point closer to closing out the map. It's 8-3, so either a round victory or an ace is enough for Big to take it home. So, I mean, they have multiple ways to close down the map right now, and I think they're gonna be able to do it.
Ooh, mistake from Soldier. Clipping that inside corner. Massa was dangerously close as well, but the pixels were on his side. So 2v1, Mudda has to get 1st place here to give Alliance one last chance at this.
Yeah, it does look like it's in Big's favor right now. Mudda has to get that 1st place. Anything but 1st place right now is going to give Big this 2nd map victory.
But he's the only one with the gear. Both Grenadier and Mudda lost Massa lost the gear there, so Mudda can extend up into quite a good lead here. 0.2 of a second before the ending.
If you guys are curious about the gears, it is a little bit more of an advanced tactic, but the gears do matter, especially when you jump into bobsleigh sections like that, where you can keep the gear. But Mudda currently on a 0.2 lead. Massa and Grenadier, they will happily be taking this draw unless they can overtake, and that's just going to put them 1 point away from closing out the map.
Yeah, 9-4 now. Alliance can actually get there with 2 aces of their own, but it's very difficult to get 6 points against the line Big on this map without them scoring any of their own. No team has done that at the moment. Did Solary? I don't remember.
I don't think so, but Big did do it to Solary.
They did indeed. Here we go. They have to be flawless.
Yeah, it is for Alliance. The only thing they can do is get first or second place. Anything under that will give Big the map win and indeed go to the next map here. Clean transition from Mudda jumping up to first place.
Also landing there, and now they have gear 4. Now the important thing is that once you go up to this next platform, you want to keep 5th gear in the landing. It can be quite tricky, 4th gear rather, and Mudda does have it. Soldier does not have it, and you can see that he's just slower as a consequence. That is done by keeping over 200 speed at the moment the car lands on the platform. So that's what they're contending with. But Mudda right now, he's left alone in first place, and Soldier is quite far behind.
When he got airtime into a drift, that's gonna slow him down even further, and Soldier has to overtake 0.6 of a second on both of the big players. Now we have a mistake from Masa, so we might be able to overtake Masa, but if Grenadi makes this jump, that's gonna be GG for map 2.
Big secures their own map and a new world record from Mudda.
Oh, Mudda.
Do not let that go through unnoticed. Mudda with a great last time here, dropping the world record on control, but their consistency, crashing out so many times in the early parts, is what gave Big 2 aces and a dominant victory in the end.
But still beautiful to see Mudda get that world record unfazed from the mistakes.
Yeah, like you drop a world record in the grand final of TMGL, that's still a Chad move. So.
Easy game. But yeah, fantastic start from Big, making sure that they get this ace in the beginning. And they actually got 2 aces in a row, so...
Yeah, and then the one opportunity Alliance had was this one round, but Masa able to clutch up and just get barely past Soldier to deny the ace. Just did not let Alliance get any closer. So now we're going on to breaking. This is Alliance's second pick. We did see Big play this against Solary earlier today. They both dropped some great times. The world record here is a 1:12.72. I do not expect we'll see that beaten, but anytime under 1:13 is very exciting.
Anytime under 1:13 is something only 3 players have done.
Yeah, that's massive. You can do that in the tournament.
So that's incredible. Now, I suspect that Alliance picked this map due to the inconsistencies from Big in their last match here. But we're going to have to see if they've patched up those inconsistencies, because that was a pretty huge hole in their armor that Alliance could take advantage of. But maybe they're warm, maybe they're ready, and maybe we'll see a whole new Big on this map.
Yeah, and I think they picked it also because Mudda, they're putting a lot of emphasis on Mudda's pace here. Mudda, in the regular season, would just destroy players on this map, driving 1:13 lows consistently and not really crashing. And if he can do that here, then that is their winning strategy. But both him and Masa have made mistakes early, so a 1 versus 1 is taking place up for that first place between Grenadi and Soldier.
So we're coming up to the identity section, and indeed why the map is called breaking. As you can see, the players here have wet wheels on. Then there's no engine off section, and the players are braking to reach 300 something speed, 280 on this turn, I believe it is, to make these right-handers work out. And it is control. You're controlling the speed at which you brake. You're controlling the speed that you exit the straight with, and those are truly detrimental, because a little bit too much speed, you're gonna slide out. A little bit too little speed, you're gonna get overtaken.
So the really interesting thing is, like, if you go in a straight line on the left side of the bridge, the best you can do is maybe like 278 for the last turn. But if you approach it diagonally, you have more space. So the players do these like small wiggles to slow down, and also set up for a curve diagonally on the edge, and they can push through it like 4 extra speed towards the finish. And if you do that for both bridges, you can actually gain upwards of like 2/10 in the ending. But it's stupidly precise and it's stupidly risky, and we see players fail there all the time. But when they succeed, it is such a display of car control.
Yeah, it looks a lot easier than it is. It is not easy to make sure you get those. Even in the start. The start is incredibly difficult not to crash in, and I think we're going to see multiple players crash out in the start as well.
Yeah, Soldier had a bit of a blunder here, being 0.3 down and going a bit too wide, but at least making sure he does not drop into the hole here. And he is joining his teammate in a battle. Grenadi crashing on the outside wall. A little bit too ambitious for the speed there. And now the cruise control, Masa gonna get a little closer to Mura, but the pace Mura is driving right now is, again, just really quick up front, close to 112 pace, and you can see him do these wiggles, line up left last second to get that curve for even more speed through the checkpoint, extending his lead by 0.2, and Soldier's getting close to Masa here. Could this be an ace? If Soldier gets more speed, it's possible! 113.12 and a regular victory for Alliance, but that was too close for comfort.
Yeah, that was incredibly close. Well played by Soldier, trying to attack there in the ending. A 113 low is a great display. Anything, I think, if you do 113.2, 113.3, that's even fine. And the very, very fastest of times that we only see a handful of players do is sub 113.
But I think this just shows how much of a cerebral player Mura is. He looked at his splits there, and he lost 2/10 to Masa, who drove a pretty safe end in the last turn there. He knew he was 6/10 ahead, and he's not thinking, I gotta flex and get a world record in this game to look cool. He's like, I want the points. Give me the points. I want to win the tournament. So he slows down, he takes it, and gives himself the 100% ending. Like, he will not fail it with that speed.
Ooh, Mura almost making that same mistake, jumping into the hole.
But now we're seeing a different scenario. Now he needs to risk. And I think we'll see a lot faster of an ending from him here, because he wants to get past Masa and remain in front in terms of points.
Yeah, he's gonna risk now. He does see that he's only about point. Oh, never mind. And Masa with a huge mistake. We're still gonna see Mura risk because he can't quite see it yet. But he's gonna know as he drives through this checkpoint right here that he is indeed far enough ahead to be able to save the last turn. And I mean, he did go pretty wide there on the apex, but definitely
he
enough.
lost 0.3 again.
Yeah.
He still drove a 113.2, so he's able to adapt every single checkpoint split he sees to what he's gonna do. But how did Masa even survive that? He slid out on the right side, and I thought, that's a face plant. That,
he
just
drove,
add the bonk sound effect, and he drove in between the signs, I think.
Yeah, no, he drove, in between the signs and under the fence. Yeah, I think that's what I saw as well. Here, it's very easy to make a mistake. You have an engine off section right there, and you have to slow down by doing a drift before the turn, and then no-sliding the entire turn. It is so easy to make a mistake, but all the players have gotten it every time, like, as of right now, so that's just impressive.
And it's, the game goes a lot deeper than what you see with just cars driving. For example, the water part there, they're actually doing a no-slide while hovering over the water.
Yeah.
So the car can be in two different states there, but that's maybe a little too much for...
A small clip there from Mura. Not the biggest mistake. He's still going to be in it, and he can indeed, if he pushes that last identity part, he can come back into the fight here, but Soldier is going to try to see if he can maintain that first place. Grenadi losing a lot of pace in the wiggle section on the cruise control block. Here is where Masa made a mistake before he slid out, but still survived, and you can see Mura. He's going to be trying to push it. He's going to try to see if he can overtake Masa here. Are they going to be able to get that ace? Soldier is far enough ahead. Mura will be pushing it in the last right-hander. Is it going to be enough? It is not going to be enough. Grenadi actually coming back up to that third place, and it's going to end up in a draw.
Really sick ending there from Grenadi, getting the perfect timing. But I almost had it on the first turn, but I think he hesitated a little bit, knowing the limits there. But Soldier, what a time, 115.09. And they do trade back and forth, but I would say, for this being Alliance's map choice, Big is holding up excellently. They are only 1 point behind at the halfway mark, and with one good round where Alliance makes mistakes, they can take this. But now, it's looking tough with Grenadi in a 1v2.
Yeah, Grenadi in a 1v2 versus Mura and Soldier on this map is not going to be easy. Especially not when you see Mura be so good at controlling the risk/reward scenarios that he sees there on the left-hand side of his screen. He knows exactly how far ahead or how far behind he is at every single checkpoint, and his teammate Soldier is right there to be able to help get that ace if Grenadi makes any sort of mistake.
Very risky outside line from Grenadi to keep up with Mura, but he does get the job done. Soldier having to back out a little bit from his line, going now, trying to get only the ice here and not the snow, as the snow is a lot slower to drive on. The more speed you carry into the water, the better. Really jumping out here, and that will let Soldier get a little bit closer. The ace is possible here if he gets two good timings. Looks like Grenadi has the better of him on the first one. Grenadi just as far between Mura as he is from Soldier. Good speed though. Is that enough? Oh, 700th of a second.
But Grenady is very, very consistent at that ending. He does save it a little bit in the first straight part where he doesn't, he elects not to wiggle as much, but that doesn't matter because as you saw right there, he was able to defend that second place position and indeed make sure that Alliance did not get an ace. But Alliance is in the ace victory territory right now.
7 points. They can get there in 1 round if both Masa and Grenady fail. But now Masa has a chance to be there with his teammate. Grenady did a great defense. Driving the time he did, 113.2 when you're in the clutch spot is really strong. And look at Masa now, able to back up his teammate with a great start. Grenady's going to join him, and they could try to make a run with this lead that they've built up on the ice, but they need the exit to be just right. Ice slide trajectory here. Very difficult to get past the hole and onto the outside dirt line. Grenady backing out of it. That will surrender his position from both Alliance players. For this engine off part, look at the speed Mutta wants, 260, and then wiggle to get a lot closer towards the water part. He's gonna close this gap entirely and make it possible for Alliance to ace, despite Big having the best start. The first turn, great from both Masa and Mutta. Soldier dropping a little bit of speed. Last turn, 1 versus 1. Mutta going for a little bit less speed than Masa, who has the wider line. Masa takes it by 2 thousandths.
2 thousandths of a second. What a great round by both the players. Absolutely crazy to see them drive there neck and neck. Masa going for a little bit of a wider apex in that right-handed turn right before the finish. That's going to give him enough momentum to just barely overtake Mutta in the final uphill.
It's so cool to see when players push like that, and neither of them wants to back out. They're essentially saying, I'd rather crash than lose this 1v1. They both went for the max speed they could. Masa daring to go just a little bit wider, though.
And great redemption from Masa
after
making that mistake.
It's such an important first place to get there, too, because if Alliance wins that round, it looks a lot different on the scoreboard. But again, this start from Big Clan has been fantastic. Last round, they couldn't convert as much. It fell apart in the outside dirt line here. So now, second chance and potentially the last chance they get at this on braking on Alliance's map choice. This time, the dirt line went a lot better. Masa has the stronger lead, but look at the speed that Mutta's going to go for here. 260 to 58 this time.
Oh my God.
And he's just going to wiggle past all of them and into the water. Him and Soldier have now gotten the top 2 spots. Can Grenady and Masa stop this? Can they do anything? They need to gain 2 tenths on the bridges. The first turn is good by both of them. They might get closer to Soldier, and draw is possible if they beat him in the ending. But Alliance looks to have this under control. Ooh. Never mind! They get the draw at the very least and put it to a 9-7.
Soldier with an unfortunate mistake there at the very final right-hander, and that's going to cost them the round or the map victory as of right now, but they're still on 9 points, and Big has to get this ace if they want to get this map down.
Ace is a must, and you know Mutta has basically not crashed except that first round. When he went into the hole, it's been so clean, consistent, 113 lows. And that's what they need to drive. Grenady drove a 112 in the previous game against Solary. Needs to repeat that. But this time, they don't have that phenom start that they had in the previous 2 rounds. They're down in 3rd and 4th before the ice. And we know Alliance can gain a lot in the dirt part. And that cruise control, where Mutta goes so wide. So the next coming segments are likely not going to be the best for Big Clan. Grenady hits the outside wall. This is looking bleak now. How much speed does Mutta get? Not as much as the other rounds. He only has about 250, so he won't snowball as much.
But there's still half a second, even a second ahead on Masa also with a huge mistake. Mutta slid out. Now Soldier is tasked to get this. If Soldier makes a mistake in the final right-hander, this is actually going to go to Big Clan.
Yeah,
but
it's only
I mean,
Soldier.
He just has to get this final turn. And he saves it.
Yeah, that's
saves
good.
it so much. Oh my God. But that's what all he
needed. It is the right play.
Yeah.
You just have to make it foolproof, you know? Make it so that even at your stupidest, slowest reaction time, brain freeze, you cannot fail it.
Exactly.
You can pass out midway through that one and still drive about half asleep into the finish.
Oh, and he did that well, and I'm sure that it was also a call coming from Mutta, just saying, dude, you're 0.7 ahead. Just, you know, slowly drive into the finish. It's fine.
We've been playing a lot of Frisbee golf lately, and in Frisbee golf, when you're so close to the basket, the last throw, the putt, you just want to make sure, like, okay, let me not mess this up. Let me take 1 extra second, line it up, make sure I stick that one, or else it's just going to suck.
Oh, we are going into Vortex. This is going to be very, very interesting here. Grenady has an interesting line on the start of the map, which might give him more speed depending on if Alliance has adapted that same line.
That is one thing, and also another thing to point out here is, as we mentioned, consistency. Mutta is one of the players that crashed the least on this map, and he had the world record on it in the first couple of weeks of play. Currently only 5 crashes, I believe, total in 30+ rounds played.
Yeah,
so
34 rounds played, and he only has 5 crashes. So Mutta is extremely consistent on this map.
So that is another factor to take into consideration. But peak pace-wise, I would give the edge here to Big Clan.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, are they doing the bug slide, or is it just the outside line?
Yes.
So let's see it here. If they... Oh, they're going for the bug slide in the grand finals! This is a line that was found in the first week by Into the Breach, and a lot of teams have shied away from doing this because it's so risky. It is very, very hard to gain time with it.
If done correctly, it does save like all the way up to 0.2 if you do it perfectly, but it is so easy to mess up. But I mean, maybe they've gotten it down now.
Doing it in the grand finals, though, is quite a bold move. They let Big Clan pick this map, and perhaps they're going to see why Big Clan did, because they're going to get aced in this first round, but the bug slide itself was not the problem. It fell apart on the pipe here.
Yeah, and I mean, once again, if you guys are just tuning in, we did have a previous map or match with Big versus Solary, where they played this exact map twice already. So Big is definitely warm on this map as of right now. And, you know, Alliance, I'm sure they're also been playing it offline while we've been waiting. But you can see Grenady, he's going to get a little bit more speed in the start because he goes so far in the back. Not quite enough to get that first place because he got an off angle into the checkpoint. But still something that I think Alliance wants to look at.
Yeah, he barely touched, but now look at this again. The reason they do this outside line is to build up a lot of speed. Also jumping wide here, quicker transition, and then this all pays off with the bug slide landing on the reactor to quickly snap into a no drift to build speed, and Mutta has done it just perfectly. And you said it could gain upwards of 0.2, it has gained 0.2, but the chances of that working so flawlessly is very rare, and Soldier pays the price here with a lot of speed through that checkpoint. He crashes out. Now it's all on Mutta.
As far as I remember, when Gwen drove the world record on this map, it was without that line.
Yeah, the world record on the map is set with the normal racing line, where you go for a low jump, get the reactor normally, and then drive clean.
So the most insane thing we could see is Mutta drive a 104.
Well, this is close to that. It's a 105.1, I think. Yeah, 105.14. But wow.
About 0.1 away from the world record, but if he gets that start again, or gets that bug slide with a good start, that could spell a brand new world record and the first sub 105.
It could, and I mean, so this is interesting for Big Clan too, right? Because they're looking at the splits and they're saying, how on earth are we like 0.4 behind with a good start? They must be doing the bug slide.
Yeah.
And so if you know your opponents are doing this, how does that change your own strategy? I think they're just gonna have to try to make the most of it, but they can't go for something else midway through.
No, I think they're going to rely on the bug slide being inconsistent, and we see Mutta here going for it one more time. Is he going to be able to get it? It does look like he gets it, but not quite enough for it to gain a substantial amount of time. Yeah, he also didn't get the perfect gears, so he's not going to get the momentum that he's looking for. Grenady is going to maintain that first place.
He clipped the checkpoint a tiny bit, I think. Didn't look like it cost him that much, but you can hear Musa's engine creeping closer to Mutta. It is very close.
It's actually his teammate's engine.
It is his teammate. Musa has crashed, so this could be a draw at worst, or a victory if Mutta can get past Grenady, but Grenady does look like he has that drift nailed good enough. He's going to lose a little bit here in the last sector most likely, but not enough for Mutta to pass him. So this is still going Big Clan's way on their own choice.
It's definitely going in Big's favor. But I mean, let's also talk a little bit about the stats, like the fact that Big Clan has played more than 60 rounds of this map by now. And as we said, Alliance has only played 34. So Big has a lot more experience in the tournament on this map. Maybe not offline. We have no idea how much Alliance has practiced it offline. But on stage in the tournament, Big has the advantage in terms of playtime.
Yeah, and that can actually matter a lot. You might say like, well, as long as you can be fast, but just knowing how to adapt in a match scenario to every possible like outcome you encounter. Oh, my car is a little bit too much left on this jump. Oh, I've seen the wobble on this bobble, so I recognize the input I have to do on the exit to get the right water bounce. There's so many intricacies, and you can see the water bounce here that Alliance got. That is not random. That is something that they're actively looking for. getting that trajectory, and they passed Grenade, who did not get it right. Now they could ace and equalize if they can control the nerves. In round 1, though, they had a situation like this, and it fell apart. It is not to be taken for granted.
Oh, Monster with a huge mistake. And it does look like Soldier and Mutter has the line. That was a little bit risky, Mutter. They're almost getting flung out of that pipe section, the identity section right there. But he manages to stick it, and that's going to equalize the score.
Yeah, Soldier getting a bit close to that disc there on the pipe across. You have those moving elements on the pipes, and it's very important to be on the side it's pushing you away from. So if the thing is spinning towards the right, you want to be on the left side.
Absolutely.
And if you get a bit of a bad tilt, like, it can be very hard to recover. The car can just fly off.
I never tilt.
You never tilt. You stay mentally fort.
I just never tilt. I always stay vertical.
Keep it vertical.
Keeping it vertical or horizontal.
Forever elevator. Riding the escalator to the something that is greater.
Oh my god.
That is a song lyric. That is not me freestyling.
Oh, I thought it was.
Song. But alas, we go back into the round here.
Oh, Soldier!
Barely making it through.
Oh, Grenade as well. And I mean, they must have heard your bars because something is falling apart here. Oh, Soldier landing upside down as well.
The players have been real quiet since my mixtape dropped.
Yeah, the field is on fire after those bars were being there. But here, let's just talk about quickly, before we head into the identity, there is one right-hander right here, where the apex of the turn is so crucial because the momentum you get out of this turn, you can see they're just going to go full speed here, and full speed, and you can see the difference between Mutter and Masa's turns. This is incredible. Just a perfect showcase of what I just talked about. Thank you, Mutter, for showing exactly what I meant when I said that right-hander and the speed you get out of that right-hander accumulates and is indeed important for the entirety of the rest of the lap. And that made Mutter overtake Masa there in the ending.
Just daring to push with a lot of speed. Masa was trying to save, and I think he made the right call.
I just want to say the reason I freaked out is because he demonstrated what I was trying to talk about so perfectly, timed to precision when I was saying it, that I couldn't believe that, you know, it was just, it worked out so well.
You're saying that while sitting with the script in your hands, lying to the audience as if you didn't already know it was.
I do have the whole script in my hand, yeah.
We're seeing, by the way, Grenade drop one of the fastest checkpoint splits I've ever seen on this checkpoint, and this could be a great time. The bug slide lines are going to come through, but he still has a lot of speed to work with. But no, he does get passed up, so his uphill was not ideal, and the water landing quite good though. And this is one of the sections where the steering wheel, like Grenade's playing with, is actually the best input device you could have. The smooth steering there, avoiding the wet tires from making you slide out. But now he still has to...
He can make some very, very precision movements now, but he still has to overtake at least one of the Alliance players here. Oh, and you can see he is pushing it. But yeah, Alliance also got that right-hander.
That's an ace. They can win the map right now.
This is what I'm saying, because he needs to overtake at least one.
Oh, they can ace.
Or they're going to ace, and it does look like Alliance is going to take home that map victory. And now Alliance is going to be on 3 map wins. They only need 1 more map virtual, and then they will take home the grand final victory.
Since they're in the upper bracket, they already start with best of 7 win to their name, and taking away Big's map there and going on to your own choice now has to feel really, really good momentum-wise. Off-road, the 5th map in the series.
They did that even while giving away a ace in the start of the round to Big. So they came back very nice, and you gotta think, is it due to this bug slide line that they're doing?
I think, at least in part, the amount of times they were ahead after that bug slide really showed up.
Yep, exactly.
But it's a strategy all the teams have known about for weeks, and most, like, 6 out of 8 teams have opted not to be using it because it's just not consistent enough. So using it in the grand final when your nerves are at the highest is something I don't think Big was expecting, and I know, you know, Alliance, they took a risk, and they get what they came for.
So what is really bad for the Big fans right now is that the map we just played, which was Vortex, was picked by Big, which means that this map is picked by Alliance, and they only need to win 1 more map, and it's their own map pick right now. If they win this map, they win the entire tournament. So this is off-road. you're going to see why it's called off-road. It's because there are some off-road mechanics coming in later, especially in the identity. I don't know if we're going to see it here in the warm-up. I don't think we're quite going to be able to make it. You can see right now, they're going to drive over just this little section of penalty grass in the off-road section. And right after that, there's another off-road section.
They have to weave in between the trees. Some stats going into this. Alliance have played about twice the amount of rounds that Big Clan has played on this. 25 versus 13. And Mutta, in 25 rounds here, only 3 crashes to his name. Quite a remarkable statistic. Grenadier only with 2 coming into this game with this 13 rounds, but that's going to be a third. And now it's a 1 versus 2 before the map has really kicked off, only in the first 15 seconds. Oh, Mutta, small mistake too, actually. It's going to balance out.
It is going to balance out here. I mean, both the big players, they also only have 3 and 2 crashes, but they also have only played the map twice as little. Well, what is it?
Twice as little, I think, is accurate.
Is that grammatically correct? They've played it twice as few times. Either way, you know what I mean. They've played it 12, 13 times, and Soldier and Mutta has played it 25, 26 times. But here we actually see Grenadier with a kind of a big mistake, and Soldier is now going to be in the lead. Massa is trying to push up to that first place, but Alliance wants this first round win, and it looks like they're going to be able to get it. And there you also had a small taste of what the identity is like, where you have to weave through these trees on the off-road section, and it is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it looks so simple when the players dance through here, but these are refined dance moves where they really don't make any mistakes. They know exactly where the trees are at. They know the inputs necessary to get them through unscathed, but they also want to push for a little bit more. The closer you go to the branches, to the trunks, the more time there is to be saved. And they're also trying to utilize a mechanic called speed sliding, which you might see a little bit in this downhill too. Just whenever you're driving on grass, especially, and you overlap the drift marks behind the car, you can accelerate a little bit faster while doing so. So there's a lot to think about, but these players are executing it to perfection.
I mean, we haven't even talked about it, but there's so many things like gears, like speed drifting, like neo sliding, like counter steering, air control, that these players are constantly just doing because they have so much muscle memory of the game. But if you're looking at the game, it's just like, oh, it's just left, right, and forward. Absolutely untrue.
But that's what makes it fun too. That's what makes us not get bored of Trackmanias. We're seeing Mutta and Soldier looking to ace here. Massa gaining about a 10th here is not going to happen. It is very difficult in this identity. Great times by both Alliance players. 5-1 now. 5 points away from hoisting the trophy. But as I was saying, Trackmania, if you haven't played it, it's a good a time as any to get into it. So many mechanics to learn. And you have the cup of the day happening every single day that you could play. But
where these players also compete, by the way.
Yeah, it's a shame you can't really win, though, because there's this one house in Norway where 2 pro players occupy, and they just keep getting first and second. You should check that out on YouTube as well. But alas, I digress. Let's get back into the esports here. Grenadier with a
huge mistake there from Grenadier, and now Alliance once again looking to try to see if they can ace it out. Massa is going to be the only person from Big that can deny them, but he's falling even further behind. Soldier giving a little bit of hope to Berlin International Gaming. He might be able... Oh, he actually got overtaken by Grenadier, and this looks like it could turn into a draw.
Massa has this one strategy, and he's gonna use it going higher up and in between the trees. This might give him a little bit more speed for the identity, and I was thinking, if you're gonna use it in a moment, this is the exact place you'd want to do it. Now, 1 versus Mutta. In the ending, he has a slightly slower line to the finish. 100th to spare, and he gets Big Clan a little bit closer in this must-win map. But what he was doing there is he drops down, and because of the reactor booster pulling him to the ground, he gets a little bit more speed from that.
Not only is it because he gets pulled down to the ground, it is also because he gets airtime, and in that airtime he doesn't decelerate. He doesn't touch the penalty grass, so it doesn't decelerate as fast, so he keeps more speed. And it is faster, but it's risky because you land in sort of a bouncy motion.
And you saw the gap he was working with.
He has to drive between a tree and a bush, and that gap is very small.
But what a cerebral play from him to recognize that is the exact moment you want to try that. And now with that momentum, look, they're pushing up for top 2. This is where Soldier made a mistake, and he's probably going to feel that, trying to correct it. Mutta has made a small mistake here, slowing down. Alliance, this is slipping now a little bit. Mudda and Soldier, bottom 2. Masa going for that line again, going up high. He gets between the bush and the tree. He has more speed than Soldier. Can he hit the approach correctly for the penalty grass? He can. And Big Clan can ace and equalize this. It was looking very dark a moment ago, but now they're going to be right up there next to Alliance on 6 points.
6-6 all of a sudden. And Big could come back here. But, I mean, there's so much more pressure on Big's shoulders right now because they have to win this map. Alliance can afford to give 1 map. Hell, they can afford to give 2 maps away. They can afford to give this entire series away. And they still have a series to go. But Big has to win.
But this is what they did against Solary in the must-win scenario. They were down much more than this. They were down 2-9. And they clutched up. And you best believe that this dream run is not over yet, and it's not over until Masa and Grenady have officially lost. They're going to play until the last round, the last minute. They are going to believe in themselves here because this is the best championship they've ever played, and they want to make the most of it. This opportunity does not come by often. And here we see them trying to
Soldier getting that airtime, not being able to get the right-hander in time, and that's going to leave Grenady and Masa alone with Mudda. And if they can overtake him, they could get that ace, but Mudda, he's not going to go down without a fight, and he is currently fighting for first with Grenady.
Grenady clipped a little bit, and that's why he has less speed. That could be the decider of the round. Grenady not likely to find the time here. That tiny clip on the transition gives Mudda 400ths and a draw.
What a great defense by Mudda as well, right?
Has to be said, yeah. But both teams now hit the track point number 7 here. Either team, if they ace, they lock in the map. And for Alliance, it would be the series.
I mean, this is just incredible. I mean, the heart must be pounding for both the teams as of right now. I mean, my heart is going insane. Let us hear it one more time in the chat or in the comments, wherever you are. Who are you guys voting for? Let's see some excitement as we head into what could potentially be the final round of TMGL.
See, it's Soldier with a good start. Masa, risky ramp cut, daring to go all the way out there, but he does get less airtime, and now he's closing the gap towards that first place, but so did Mudda. Mudda also had it great, and they're going to just about equalize all 4 players across this parkour section. Tons of jumps in quick succession before this ice slide. Masa setting up early, gonna go high up the hill then, and might not get as much of the booster. But look at this race we have on our hands. Grenady looks like he went a little bit wider. And Masa now going for the line again, going in between the bush. But he clips it. He clips the bush. Could Alliance ace and take the championship? They have about a 2/10 lead. Grenady, who needs the greatest end we've ever seen on off-road. Can he find one? It looks like he can't. Alliance are the champions of Trackmania Grand League.
Amazing performance there by Alliance. Mudda and Soldier there making sure that they've got the consistency to take it down, and that's going to be their victory over Berlin International Gaming. Absolutely great performance also by Big Clan. I mean, that has to be their best tournament in Trackmania yet, and there's nothing wrong with getting 2nd place.
No, they can be so proud of that. They took down the defending champions of Solary in the loser bracket finals. They took down so many teams in the regular season. Alliance here, though, showing that, you know, they are the best team right now in the world.
I mean, yeah, crazy stuff here. 10-7, 4-1, and Mudda and Soldier taking it home from the upper seed. And I think we gotta congratulate them.
We do indeed. That was just a great series overall. I love the fact that they did the bug slide. I like their picks. I think the
bug slide line was definitely a clutch move.
Yeah. And then Big Clan, they had control. Control was a really bright moment for them. Vortex was super close, but they lost that one. And Alliance, yeah, they come out on top.
They did indeed. As you can see, these replays coming in here. The final ace for Alliance, showcasing just the lines that they had. They're driving in tandem, just beautifully done.